herons, how are you today? Well, we have made it to our last block of 4th grade. A little sad, but kind of cool too. So we are going back to human and animal just the same way that we began the school year. And we're going to review just a little bit at the beginning and add a little bit more information to the story of the threefold human. And you may remember, if you were here at the beginning of the year, that we talked about how a human being is kind of divided into 3 parts of their body. We have our head, and at the beginning of the year we talked about how our head is like the sun that we see from it, and it's also kind of like the earth that we're going to talk about in this block. It's round, of course, like the sun and the earth. It has a hard outer part, like the earth has a hard crust. And also we sense everything about the earth from our head. With our eyes, we can see things. With our ears, we hear things. Our nose smells things. Our mouth tastes things. And we can put information out there. With our senses too, we can speak. We can create things that we can, see as we draw or paint. We can sing with our mouths. All of these things that we can create from our head and our mind. We also have a trunk, and we talked about how that's like the moon, how the rise and fall of our breath is like the phases of the moon. But we can also think about how our trunk is kind of where all of our rhythms take place in our body. We have our heart, which beats out a steady rhythm, and inside of our rib cage, so we have like this hard upper part of our trunk where our rib cage is that protects all of our organs, and then our stomach is kind of the softer part where all of our digestive system is. So up here we have the rhythms of our heart and our lungs breathing in and out, and then on the stomach part, the softer part of our trunk, is the rhythm of our digestion and just that step-by-step process where our food is transformed into energy for our bodies. And because of all those rhythms that happen in our trunk, it kind of is where a lot of our power comes from. Our cells get oxygen from our blood and from our breath, and they get energy from the food that we eat. So a lot of our power comes from right here. And then of course we have our limbs, which are a very active part of our body. You see me in these videos and my hands are always moving. We can do so many things with our limbs. We can build things and create things. We can make art. We can play. We can do sports. And we can comfort others with our limbs too, which is unique to humans and just a couple of other species, like great apes. And the thing about being human is that since our limbs can do so many things, it means that we get to choose what to do with our limbs. So this is where being human comes with a lot of responsibility. What are we going to do with our limbs? Are we going to make beautiful things? Are we going to be kind with our limbs? Are we going to use our limbs to develop our talents and get even better at the things that we can be doing? Or are we going to make not so good choices with them? So limbs is kind of like where our responsibility lies. Now, our legs also, our lower limbs, are very unique in the animal world because our limbs, our legs, are made to hold us upright. We are built to stand on 2 legs. That's how our balance works. Now, some apes can stand on their hind legs, and they do so often, but they're still built to be on all 4s, and that's really more comfortable for them and healthier for their bodies to be on all 4s most of the time. So we are kind of different in that our hands are always free to be doing other things. We don't have to support our weight with our front limbs like most other animals do. And so when you look at a human being, you see that we're balanced in a lot of ways. Many animals can do things better than we can, but we can do more things. We're not specialized into one little area. We have a lot of areas where we can do things. And so, if you look at different animals, you'll see 3 different categories that we're going to be talking about during this block. So we're going to be talking about animals that have sharp senses that come from their heads. And that category of animals is best represented by an eagle, because when we think of an eagle, we think of its sharp eyesight. And we're going to be learning the story of the eagle this week as well. And then when we think about our trunk and all those rhythms, we can think about animals that are really kind of controlled by the rhythms of their breathing and their blood. And when we think of an animal that represents that category, you can think of a lion, because a lion has this strong heart and these very strong hunting and carnivorous instincts that flow through its veins. And then we think of the lower part of the trunk and the digestive rhythms that happen there. And there's a whole category of animals that we could think of as having very strong digestive rhythms. And that category of animal is well represented by a cow, because a cow really just eats all day long. And not only does it eat its food, the grass or the hay, one time, cows actually have different stomachs. So their food is coming back and they're re-eating it and chewing it again. So a lot of digestive rhythm happening with a cow. So we're going to be talking about these 3 animals and also some different ones that fit into those categories as well during this block. Now, you might be asking, what about limb animals? And we did talk about limb animals, about our human hands, and we also talked about chimpanzees in our first human and animal block. And we like to say that humans are the only true limb animals, although when you think about all the research that has been done in recent years about gorillas, we talked about Coco the gorilla, right, and how she used her limbs to care for kittens and to sign to people. And so there are some animals, apes especially, who use their hands to make tools and use their hands to care for each other. And so we can think of them as limb animals too. But we're going to be more focusing on humans as a limb animal during this block, and more on those 3 categories of animals for their sharp senses, their strong heart and lung rhythms, and their strong digestive rhythms, and what we can learn about those animals. So I'm really excited for this block, and I hope you are too, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you later.